So now what do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
Hi friends, I missed you guys. How are you guys doing? I'm Prairie Vintage. My name is Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube, and I use spirit, my intuition, the tarot to communicate energies to you guys, fabulous viewers. If you guys are new to this channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here and that you found me. I hope you guys stay and that the messages resonate with you guys. For those of you guys returning, I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed. Thank you so much for subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing, and donating and booking readings. Everything is awesome. You guys are awesome. And I'm so glad that you guys are here. And I can't wait to get into today's reading. These are the decks I'll be using for today's reading. And today's reading will be a pick a card, which we'll choose from 3 options for 3 piles. Okay. But for those of you guys interested in the decks and want to know which ones I'm using, these are them right here. I'll put a link right here to my deck flip throughs, and that gives you an opportunity to charge the cards when I get the cards. Okay. And since there is no linear time, energy sits not in form, you can charge the cards at any point in time for more accurate readings here in this channel, as energy is all interconnected. Okay. And for those of you guys who read, obviously, and you like to take a look at the cards, then I do enjoy sharing my decks with you guys. So beautiful angels, today's reading, we'll be taking a look at what it is that's coming to an end in regard to challenge, struggle, what spirit wants you to know that is being released, that is maybe weighing you down, or some sort of burden maybe that you're carrying. It could be an internal thing going on. It could be an external thing, person, place, thing. I don't know what it is, but we'll find out together. And as usual, this reading is not going to be resonating for every single person here. It is a collective reading. So if the messages do not resonate in that pile, then go check out another reading in my playlist. Okay, these are specific readings for certain individuals needing to hear certain messages. All right, so use your intuition, which you'll see, feel, or hear to determine whether the pile makes sense to you throughout the card layout. And I will put a timestamp to the direct channeled message for each of those groupings for those of you guys who are in tune with your intuition and want to go straight away to your messaging. So, beautiful angels, I will see you guys at the card pick. Hello, beautiful angels. 3 options to choose from. For the first option, we have this goose feather. Ignore my son. He's playing video games if you guys can hear him spazzing out in the background. Option number 2, we have this brass key. And option number 3, we have this dried piece of poop. I'm just kidding. Definitely looks like piece of poop. It's driftwood. So I found these on my travels. This key was gifted to me, but this feather as I walked, and this as I walked the park. So gorgeous angels, sit with these 3 energies. Okay. It's absolutely fine to be called to multiple piles. Okay. There could be many things going on in your energy field. Could be tapping into you, people around you, situations, circumstances, past, present, future. Okay. Everything is energy, and energy doesn't sit in form. This is why it's very open and vast. So it's up to you to use your intuition, whatever is applying to you right here, right now. Although this is a timeless message. And it is collective, meaning there's a lot of people who randomly come by here. Okay, so we're going to try to keep it pointed as we can. And if the overall messaging doesn't fit your situation, then it's most likely not your message. Okay, no need to make it fit, force it to fit, or anything like this. You can go check out another pile, and I will put the timestamps down below, and I will see what you pick. Pile number 1, you guys picked the Canadian goose feather that I picked up in my walks around the block. We're going to take a look at what sort of struggle is coming to an end, what's being released, okay, from your life. Is this an internal thing? Is this an external thing, person, place, thing? What's being released? And we're asking Spirit to deliver this message through me. And I do ask you use your intuition, which you'll see, feel, or hear to determine whether this messaging makes sense to you. And you can do this throughout the card layout. Okay. But if you are in tune with your intuition, you want to go straight away to the channeled message, you can click on the timestamp below. So let's take a look at your pre-shuffled oracle cards I've not looked at. So right away, when I put these down, what was coming through was this pile was going through a lot of shifts, a lot of changes, like a lot. And so this might be the struggle. How do I keep up with all of these changes? You know, there's just everything sort of shifting. Let's see. So we have 5, House of Creativity. Okay, I'll let you guys sort of read this. What is my gift? Interesting. Lots changing around you. So we have Leo. No, North Node. Sorry, I thought it was Leo. North Node. Yeah, you're definitely being guided somewhere. Something specific, like a purpose here is really coming through, you know? And so we have to shed what's not us. That's really coming strong. It's like your whole world is in upheaval here in order to align to something that's meaningful, purposeful, direct, and clear. So there might be a lot of static, a lot of noise, a lot of sort of unnecessary things going on in your world that are misaligned right now. Okay, unnecessary. Everything's sort of necessary. The cult. Wow, look at all these people circling this stone. Okay, don't take words literally. We're going to channel what the energy is. So we have the 4 of diamonds, which is 4 pentacles, and we have a pair of shoes. So I will read in the book only because sometimes the author obviously has a meaning that is different than what I intuit. But shoes for me are about taking steps, you know, like taking steps, little steps. It's slow moving at a time, but it's still movement nonetheless. But 4 pentacles is a very sort of stuck energy because that would be about feeling held back or like not wanting to take a risk in some sort of way. So let's see, what is this 4 of diamonds? 4. Sorry, I don't remember how this book goes. Okay, hearts, here's diamonds. 4 of diamonds, work boots. Shoes retain the shape of the foot and therefore the essence of a person. They show where you've been, which would be the south node. Okay, that's interesting. Where you've been, the terrain you've traversed, and so on. Upright, the resting boots denote a pleasant crowd or meeting, the result of which will be determined by the company the card keeps. The 4 of diamonds foretells a long wait for something. It can also prescribe a much-needed rest after trials and tribulations, like the farmer coming in from the fields before dinner and taking off his boots to rest. What's needed to be done has been done. Now we wait. Reverse, this card shows a breach of confidence and double dealing within your circle, especially from a person who on the outside seems like a follower. Interesting, because there were people here, and this was coming in reverse when I first laid it out, but I'm getting a little bit of mixed energy here. Okay, I'm glad I read that. Let's keep going. We have the Blue Temple, number 54. Okay. And then we have surrender to spirit. Once you've done everything, that's messaging's coming through again, you can achieve a goal. Once you've done everything you can to achieve a goal, turn the situation over to the divine. Let spirit work its magic for you. And then we have enlightened with frankincense. The trigger statement is I am alone. The true statement is I am one with all that is. Dear child, you're safe and loved as you continue on your journey of self-exploration. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Strong messaging. Submission. And we have the sign of Mercury. No, I'm sorry. I'm getting my signs all figured up. It's Venus in Pisces with submission. You have a little bird in a cage, and the number 12. 12 is Pisces energy for me. It's also hangman energy. Some of you guys might have resonated with, I do believe it was pile, well, I haven't read it yet, but pile number 2. Let me just check real quickly. Is it 2 or 3? It's pile 2. There might be a message for you. I haven't read it, but I feel an energy here connected to two. Okay, just if you were called. And so we have misfortune here. It looks almost like a tower situation here. And this building's, yeah, someone's flying from the tower of the building. Okay, remember we're not taking words literally, so don't get thrown off by the imagery here. We have this person who looks like they're in fetal position, naked. Okay. And we have, I don't know, looks like a scene in Venice because these people are in a rowboat. Looks pretty romantic, some sort of villa. Okay, and then we have luxury, number 8. So 8 is Leo, which I was thinking we were getting from the north. No, but it's not. 53 and 54. So we have succession here, steps, like I was talking about in sequence. Oops. I feel like covering this with this card here, which says, Rishi, spirit medicine. Nourish your spirit by following what makes your heart sing. Wow. Okay. Luxury. Libertarianism, depravity, excess, seduction, without respect, exploiting others. Type 8, the challenger, instinctive center between strength and weakness. Okay, 8 is the number of movement, which you're feeling from the shoes again. Okay, change, which is that 5 energy. Attainment. 8 is authority, manifestation. It's also leadership and abundance and goals. Okay, which is this purpose, energy, this direct, pointed thing. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of pile 2 again coming through here. Or, yeah, pile 2, sorry. Coming through here. Just the energy I was getting when I was putting the cards together. Not that I put them together. I asked Spirit and then the energy comes. I haven't seen pile 2. I haven't done the reading. Just have to make that clear. What you really want and need. 15 is devil energy. So we have some Capricorn here. What you really want and need. Wow. Okay. And then we have this cow and these 2 kids. One's drinking its milk and one's laying on its back. Interesting. And she's wearing red and green. Green is the heart chakra. Red is the root chakra. And then we have yellow, which is solar plexus. So I'm feeling the chakras here. We have white and blue. So the authentic self, the pure self, masculine and feminine coming through, the black, white with the cow. Again, the dark, the light, the masculine, feminine, getting duality from this. Okay. And then we have this scene, which also is kind of similar in a way to this scene, because we have like what looks like a little town or a village. There is a windmill, a little rowboat, a bench. All of these benches are empty. No one's sitting here. A little stream. It's like the same boats here, except no one's here. Okay. And there's a bell tower here as well, or a church tower. Okay. Church bell. Let me lay your your tarot cards as well, and then we'll channel, okay? For pile 1, Spirit, please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good. What struggle is coming to an end in one's life? What's being released? What struggle is coming to an end? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 1. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good. Thank you so much, pile 1. This fell sideways. I'm going to keep it sideways. Thank you so much, pile 1, for being here. Well, let's take a look. So we have the King of Spikes. That's the King of Swords in reverse. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. We have the 9 of Scepters, which is 9 Wands in reverse. And we have the 5 of Hearts, 5 Cups in reverse. Okay, and we have the Sun, Leo energy. We have a cross card, the 4 of Wands. And we have the Queen of Swords. Interesting. Queen and King of Swords, masculine and feminine, which I was feeling from this. Okay, when we have like counterparts in the same suit, we could be dealing with our other person. Okay, another aspect of ourself, someone who is sort of aligned with us, but this is the sword. So someone who thinks alike, maybe someone on the same purpose. Okay, And then we have the two of spikes, swords, two swords. Okay. Under two swords, we have the Fool, Aquarius energy. All right. Let me put this over here. And let me channel. You guys can skip ahead. Okay. Pile number one. Wow. Wow. Let's get into your reading here, okay? Always note when I do energy readings, it could be reading your energy around you, past, present, future. It's up to you to determine whether this messaging is for you or not using your intuition, which is why I do the card layout. So don't run with messages, crossing your fingers and your toes with the assumption that it is for you. Only you know if it's for you, if it resonates with your intuition here, okay? Not wishful thinking and that sort of thing. What's coming to an end? Struggle. That's what the name of this reading is, because you have been going through a struggle, big fat freaking struggle here. It's been a very long journey, okay? And I feel like this journey was a challenge for you because I do feel like there's big shifts and changes that have been happening in your world to align you to a purpose, appointed place. It's been guiding you somewhere, directing you someplace. But throughout this exploration, if you will, it's been very crazy, if I got to use a word here, okay? But I do feel like the big challenge is it's gone very slow. It's been bit by bit. Or when are we getting there? And there's a lot of energy here of feeling alone and feeling like we don't belong and feeling like almost sequestered, but yet it's like we feel like, okay, we're moving, but where am I getting to? I still feel isolated. I still feel not understood. I still feel not supported. And I feel like your whole world kind of took like this tower, okay? Like an upheaval here. We had to burn away a lot. And I feel like this isn't just about things in the 3D world that we've been releasing or moving away from, but I think this has been big aspects of self that have needed to be transmuted and understood. And the big purpose here was to guide you towards a greater purpose, like your truest self and what you're actually here for. Okay, we have many purposes, of course. You know, even the journey itself serves as a purpose in unto itself. Okay, but there is a version of you that you're rowing towards. And I feel like this version is very clean, you know, it doesn't have all of this other stuff, because I feel like all this other stuff that was needing to be released was parts of self that were no longer aligned to who you are. And so the struggle here is getting through with this journey because it's been very slow. And like, what do I release and how do I release it? And why do I feel alone? Okay, so I am feeling this is where, I don't know, you'll have to apply it to yourself, okay? I know a lot of people who come here are wrapped up on a journey with a spiritual soulmate, like a twin flame, okay, or like a spiritual soulmate of some sort. There's a masculine and a feminine energy coming through here very strongly, okay? So it could be aspect of self. I feel for sure it's aspect of self, and it could be also mirrored with your 3D world with someone, okay, you and someone else. But what this is talking about is there being this uniting of the minds, uniting of understanding. There's a uniting here of masculine and feminine energy that belong and that are in flow and that are aligned. And I feel like we were needing to sort through a whole bunch of things before we could come to being aligned and actually experiencing, and for a lot of you guys, this could be relationship, as in like an intimate relationship. This could be, it's like realigning ourselves with the right people, the right support, and the right environment. I feel like there's an energy you're leaving where you might have a certain group of people or an environment support that you've just outgrown and are no longer, they're no longer your sort of, I don't know, they're always your soul tribe, but they're no longer supporting you in your growth. Okay. And I feel like in order to have growth, we've had to accept some hard truths, which would be leaving the coop or accepting that wherever we were is not aligned for us anymore. And some of us might have not have known, well, where does that leave me and where does that guide me? It's like maybe going from having, like support to family and all of this stuff that we could trade, but it's like part of our soul might have been silenced because it was misaligned. And so there was a part of ourselves that was shut off. And so Spirit was wanting to pull us out of that environment because maybe it was too comfortable. But for sure, what it was not allowing us to live to our greatest purpose. And so there is this great purpose here, which we had to sort of risk leaving the safety of our world in order to align with our truest self. And I feel like maybe, not that there was ever any doubt, but maybe there was a whole lot of, will I ever get to the other side, like, and find what this is for? Like, because it obviously would make sense to stay where there is comfort and get some sort of support or some sort of something. But we knew we were selling our, trading off, a part of ourself or silencing a part of ourself. Where you're headed, beautiful people, is completely aligned. Okay, this is truly aligned to your calling, your person, your soul tribe, your purpose, completely aligned here. And I feel like there's a lot of emphasis here on movement because I feel like maybe no matter how much we were growing spiritually, we felt like in the 3D, it's like, I don't know if I'm moving or growing, like I'm not seeing any results here or getting anywhere. It really felt very much like without. There's a big energy here of feeling without, lack, alone, abandoned in this sort of way. And I do feel like the spiritual journey here was all about feeling whole, feeling complete, and also understanding that to sacrifice parts of self, although we might dress it up as a loving thing sort of to do, it's not loving to self. And so this is a big lesson that we were learning here, was about how do I honor myself in the most spiritual way, because I have to learn to love myself and to respect all aspects of myself. I can't silence or trade off a certain part of myself in order to keep peace or to keep, the flow going for other people. And so although that is very beautiful, it's actually not aligned with the greatest spiritual truth, because spiritual truths are aligned only in truth. And in truth, you don't have to trade off any part of the truth of who you are inside. There's no need to, sacrifice any part of self. And if you're doing this in order to attain some form of peace or some other truth, then it's obviously not completely true. Okay, so this is aligning you with complete truth without any sort of self-sacrifice, martyrdom, and acknowledging that there is all aspects of yourself that are needing to be experienced and understood and lived through. And so I feel like there was a lesson of surrender and trust. And the trusting and the surrendering was needing to happen here while we were being shown the opposite, you know? It's like this is the only way to surrender is to experience heavy burdens and more than we want or willing to take. It's like I can't take anymore. I truly surrender. I give in, you know, or feeling really, really sort of stuck and not free to choose what we want to choose. And so I feel like this is the heaviness that you've been dealing with that's coming to an end. It's like wherever you felt trapped, stuck, like things weren't moving, or maybe that there was movement, but nothing was sort of being seen. There's a true energy here of surrender, acceptance, and connecting to self in a way here that allows there to be alignment in the 3D. And so what was lacking from your 3D world, I feel, was obviously as a result of what we've been doing. But I feel like this spiritual journey has been waking up, transmuting a lot of these beliefs and a lot of this way of being so that we could become the greatest version of ourselves and manifest alignment through going through what non-alignment sort of looks like, you know, like everything sort of in our way here. And I feel like you've been really strong in the face of adversity here. And I feel like at times maybe we really felt like giving up, because I do feel like we felt we had nothing or no one. It's like I don't have anything or anyone. And if we did have certain things we used to fall back on, this is really coming through. It's been coming through my last few readings too. It's like I used to be able to fill in the blank, you know, but this is a coping mechanism. And so the ego, the identity we create to protect ourselves, can come in many forms and fashion, and it could justify and make excuses as to what it's doing. And sometimes that looks like I'm, you know, like I'm doing this for the greater good, or self criticize. That's all a form of it's an ego, it's an identity that we create, but it's a tactic. It's a tactic we use to distract ourselves to what is, okay? So there's an acceptance here of who you are. And yeah, and I feel like maybe we're really, really connecting to this part of oneness that hasn't been connected to in the past, that we're not separate, that we're not alone, that we're not abandoned. So it's a very beautiful energy here. But I feel like there's been a lot of, again, with the 5 and even with the Queen and the King of Swords in reverse, it's like no one understands me, or I'm not understanding what's going on. It's like I'm speaking one language energetically, and maybe, you know, someone in your world or other people in general or speaking something else. Even the masculine and the feminine energy might have been not understanding each other. It's like my mind is one place, my heart might be in another place, or I'm not really fully understanding when I'm supposed to be not doing anything and giving up to the universe, or when I am supposed to be taking action. Might have been a lot of stories we've had to see through, a lot of lies we've had to see through. I feel like this is really about wisdom, you know, like true wisdom through experience that's come to you, not through the mind, not through reading, not through knowledge, but through an inner experience of integration of experience, so that you understand the truth, your truth. So I'm seeing surrender, you know, submitting to the divine here. And it's through suffering and through experience and through emotional pain and all of this stuff. It's like I could see now. I could see where I wasn't seeing, or I can understand a greater truth, not with the mind, but it's felt. And you can't read this. You can't go to a whole bunch of tarot to understand this, you know, or books or gurus or whatever you want. This comes through an inner experience of integration. I can see, you know, this is a period of enlightenment, consciousness, and it's it's like an integrated self here that's only through experience. I don't know how else to put it into words what this is. And so we see the phoenix rising. I feel like you've really had to burn everything down to the ground, you know? And it's like everything of who I was, or everything that was in my world, is no longer what it was. And you might have had to light the flame, and you also have to put it out, you know? Put it out as in let it burn, and then, you know, like find the balance, find the in-between space so you could be reborn here. So what's happening here? I feel like the descent of what you're not is come to an end. Okay? Like what you're not having to navigate through, that part of your world is over. But what you're coming into now is complete alignment. And like I said, for a lot of you guys, this is your masculine, your feminine. Okay, union, balance, stability. This is your community, your soul tribe. This is a rite of passage. This is a milestone period here that you're entering, where we're no longer having to see what doesn't work and be disappointed and emotionally abandoned or depleted. We're not going back here anymore. It's over. There is no more lack. Okay, and I feel like wherever we felt disrespected or misunderstood or not seen, that's coming to an end here. Okay, it's through great suffering, I feel, and through the divine and through things we can't touch and feel, that we learned lessons that are very spiritual, that have been integrated and understood as a spiritual wisdom, not as, again, an intellectual wisdom. Okay, and this has been over a long period of time. And so how you'll know this is your pile is because I'm not talking about one aspect of self, and I am talking about you've been on this track for quite some time, step by step by step by step by step. And everything got upturned here, you know? And it's like, do I break away from what's safe and what I know and the people that have been in my world? So we've changed completely our point of view. We are not the same person, and our understanding of who we are and what we need has changed completely. I don't need what I thought I needed, you know? What I thought I wanted? No. And so it feels like you're going to be way more pointed and aligned to an area rather than sort of being scattered and upturned because of how this sort of unwound, if you will. It's like you're self unwound. You have to unbind the false self in order for you to clear up what is you. Okay, yeah, even surrender to spirit here, which I miss. So surrender, submission, there's surrender. So yeah, it's a lesson of surrender, letting go. And so you are safe and loved as you continue on your journey of self-exploration. You truly understand who you are through not a mental understanding, not an egoic understanding, not what's out there, but through an internal discovery. And that's the only way to really discover who we are and what we are about and what we need, is through this internal exploration. And I think the internal exploration might have taken longer. It might have been, like I said, very difficult, and might have felt very stuck at times, you know, where we feel trapped in the mind, or just physically like, where's this getting me? But there's a beautiful freedom, and I don't feel that you are alone here, you know, but I do feel like you've had to leave situations and circumstances, and you're leaving those because they're misaligned, like I said. And if you were to stay there, there would be challenge, there would be a sacrificing of a part of self, there would be just a misalignment in understanding who you are, and a level of, you know, maybe mental capacity or consciousness. It's like certain people are still living in a 3D based sort of consciousness. And I feel like for this pile, you're at a higher state of consciousness here. And so how do we manage, you know, without having to sort of leave that world and push yourselves into a greater expansion here of peace and calm and greater purpose? So, beautiful angel, this is your reading. I love this for you. It's been very challenging for sure. Okay, but I feel like your chakras are being aligned. I feel like you could finally relax. I feel like there's going to be peace here, and I feel like there's going to be a great abundance that's given to you. And I don't feel like you're going to be feeling like you're alone. You know, sometimes when we feel alone, even if you've learned that we are one with all, we still feel like, you know, in the 3D, because we're 3D humans. We want connection. We want to experience unity. We want our people around us, you know? And so I feel like this is coming. If this is something that you are wanting, for some of you guys, maybe you wanted a relationship or a person to understand you, or like a new, you know, job that would welcome you, or a new, like, aligned community. That's coming. You're not ostracized here. Okay. So, beautiful angel, this is your reading. I hope this helped you. I'll see you at the next one. All right. Bye-bye. Hello, beautiful pile number 2. You guys picked the key, the skeleton key. Let's take a look at your reading, shall we? So I have pre-shuffled oracle cards, and I ask Spirit, what struggle is coming to an end for pile 2? Okay, so this could be something you're releasing internally, externally, person, place, thing. We don't know. We'll see. Okay, and because this is sort of a general collective, meaning a lot of people will come through here, this may be something that is not resonating for you. Okay, if it doesn't resonate, don't force it to fit. So this is why it's important to come up with what we'll see, feel, or hear to determine whether the messaging is right for us throughout this card layout. Okay, if you're in tune with your intuition, you can go straight away to the channeled message. So let's take a look. Sagittarius energy. I did tell pile 1 to come over here, although I didn't do this reading yet because this energy was coming through. Same with this energy for pile 1. So if you were called to 1, there could be a message there for you. Okay, so we have Sagittarius, I seek, and we have the sign of Venus. I should say the planet of Venus. So Taurus Libra energy, it's planet of love. Okay, it says I value and I seek. So we have this flying thing. It kind of looks like a bat flying over top. Okay, we see this river flowing, all windy. It's like gliding over top. Interesting. Okay, and then we have screenplay with a little coffee ring here. Okay, putting together a masterpiece here or something. Then we have the Queen of Hearts. So this is the Queen of Cups energy, which is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Now I do want to read, because this deck I don't use very often, and I do like to see what the author suggests, although I'd like to read intuitively. So I would read this as the Queen of Cups, and obviously with all this heart stuff would be love. We're seeing 2 hearts mirrored. Okay, so let's see. What's this Queen of Cups? It says female, a somewhat blonde woman. Somewhat blonde, okay? If it shows another person, otherwise it represents a female client being read, which would be, I guess, you. Whether you're masculine or feminine, I think is irrelevant. This is energy. So regardless of features, if a man is being read, this card represents their ideal lover, a current or future, regardless of gender or orientation. Okay, so it's talking about love here. All right, interesting. Let's keep going. Venus right under, or right above this. Okay, and then we have conjunction. Wow, this is also about a union of sorts, masculine, feminine. Okay, a coming together, a marriage of sorts here with conjunction. 71, or the number 8. Okay, and then we have surrender to what is. Flow with what is instead of fighting it. When you can't change a situation, compassionately accepting it exactly as it is will bring you peace. So we see the white here. White is all about purity and authenticity. Okay, and then we have wild orange with good fortune. The trigger statement, there is not enough. The true statement, I attract abundance. Feel the joy you would have once you have reached your goals here and now. You will achieve your dreams fastest that way. So it's kind of like a fake it till you make it energy. Okay, and then we have power, moon in Scorpio, another 8 here, so 88. 88 is a master number, a higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness and reverence for life. Okay, but 8s are all about movement, change, attainment. 8s are about authority, manifestation, leadership, abundance, goals. Okay, this is power. And we're seeing the masculine and feminine with the moon and the sun here as well. Interesting. And like I said, the 2 hearts. Okay, and then we have servant, the maid. Okay, where should I put that? Right there. Can you guys see? Yes, and then we have this person with a gas mask and their hands up in the air. Interesting. Okay, and then we have rope, all tied in knots. Haven't seen this one. We have envy, 49 and 4. So 4 is the number of structure and foundation, stability, planning. It's also the emperor, okay, which could be Aries. It's also death, which is all about transformation, Scorpio energy. So we have perpetual dissatisfaction, jealousy, greed, desire, longing, and comparison. Type 4, the individualist, emotional center between lack and abundance. Okay, so waiting to be right, 29 and the number 11. Okay, so 11's a master number, divine inspiration, synchronicity, and the encouragement to keep going. Let's see, what does the tarot want to add to this spread? So spirit for pile 2, what is being released or what challenge is coming to an end? What struggle, challenge will be coming to an end for pile 2? That one's going to be sideways. So that's how it's coming out. The ones from the bottom are wanting to come out for some reason. Spirit, clear and concise message for pile 2. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. What struggle is coming to an end for pile 2? All right. Let's see. We have the Knight of Scepters, which is the Knight of Wands. I don't read bottom of the deck reverse. Okay, as some strong Sagittarius energy I'm getting from this Knight of Wands. And then we have the Mage under that, which is the Magician. Mercury energy. So that's Gemini and Virgo. Okay, and then we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. And we have Death in reverse, Scorpio energy. We were getting some death from this number 4. Okay, and then in the sideways position, we have the 7 of Wands. Okay, and then we have the 2 Pentacles. And we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. Sorry, this is Swords. 7 swords in the sideways position, not wands. Okay, 7 swords in the sideways position, and then the Knight of Swords in the reverse. And we have the Page of Cups, which is Page of Hearts. Hearts, hearts, hearts. And that's in reverse. Okay, let me channel what this is. I do want to see what's under this Magician energy. We have Justice and Empress under that. Libra, and then Taurus, Libra. Strong here, and with the Sagittarius in the base. Okay. I'll keep it like this. Move it over here. Let me channel what this is about. You guys hear my son? He likes to get rowdy when he plays. Okay, pile number 2. As I read energy, it could be your energy, energy around you. I don't know. I just read energy. So don't take it and run with it. If it's not you and it's someone you know, then it's someone you know. Okay. This is interesting because I do feel this is a relationship reading. Okay. Strongly here. Because what I'm really feeling is that even though it goes deeper than relationship, this is how we're in relationship with people. I don't think it's just only specifically about one individual, although I feel like this has been, there's been a catalyst in your world that has shown to you a part of yourself that has been the biggest challenge for you, has been you and how you engage in connection and relationship. There's a big part of yourself that I feel has been adapted to, or that you've constructed in order to keep yourself safe. Okay, we all do this. It's an identity that the ego creates. And I feel like this identity that you created, we cling to it and we attach to it and believe that it is very true, or that it needs to be there in place, and that we should have success with this masked version of us in play. Okay, but what's coming to an end is that we don't need this mask. We don't need to carry this facade, this version of this person that we think we needed to be. Who was this person? This person was controlling. This person had an understanding of what they wanted. And so they were trying to force outcome. And they were trying to attain. I mean, there's no problems with wanting to attain what we want and our desire, but there's a need for us to work with spirit and to allow ourselves to accept what is, rather than manipulate energies. And so there is this trying to attain without truly going through a full understanding, because I feel like there was a bypassing of emotions here, which I'm getting strongly from this card. It's like, in order for us to truly experience love, for example, there has to be us fully giving love. In order for us to truly transcend past the ego, there has to be a vulnerability, an authentic self that comes online. And I feel like maybe we were wanting an authentic relationship, or we were wanting something out there to reflect back to us, some happiness, which we're all deserving of. Okay. And we were like still sort of doing the same thing, or the same dance from the egoic aspect of this false self. Okay. Of putting on a show of who we thought we had to be. And so there's something here about truly connecting to ourselves from a place of acceptance that allows us to be whoever we are without trying to manipulate energy. Okay. It's like, it's all about us relinquishing control and having to understand how we're going to behave, what we're going to do, what results is going to come from that. And then maybe I should do this, or maybe I should say that, or, like there's too much manipulation of energy here. And it was coming from a place, like I said, of trying to present something that we thought would be successful. And maybe it was fully well-intentioned. And maybe it was coming from a place that we thought was love. Okay, but this isn't a place of love, because like I said, there was a bypassing of what it is to truly love. To truly love would mean to go through the discomfort. What it means to love is to be vulnerable. What it means to love is to go through the awkward position of not having control, and relinquishing and accepting what is, and not trying to change or force or need it to be anything other than what it is, which is very uncomfortable to do when we are still in an ego, or when we're still wanting to be right, or have the situation unfold in a way that we believe has to be the way it unfolds for us to feel okay and safe. Okay, so there was this desire coming from the ego that was really driving the actions and the understanding. And I feel like it twisted us up. Okay, it twisted us up. And I think we got even more twisted in it, because it's like, if I didn't get it, then I did more of that. and then I did something else to try to fix that. It's almost like doing more of the same and getting the same result, and then, having to undo all of this stuff, because I feel like we still want it to be right, or we still want it to come from the angle of this version of ourselves to fix this self. And it's like that Einstein quote, you can't come up with a solution. I don't know what the exact quote is, like the solution to the problem, from the same mind that created the problem. Okay. And I always say you can't use the mind to debunk the mind. It's the same thing. It's like in the ego identity that I create, I'm trying to resolve and find my happiness and the desire here of what I want to attain. And so I will use this ego to find that answer, or to attain this goal, or to have this relationship unfold, or this thing. And it's like, well, no, this relationship or this experience, which again, I do feel is a relationship, but it's really about how you are in relation to people, how you relate to them. And I do feel like it's more evident when it comes to close relationships, personal ones, because it's very close to us. So it's being mirrored back to self. What is the truest version of me? What is the purest version of me? How can I surrender to what's going on right here, even if it makes me feel uncomfortable, and even if it's not feeling to me like I'm going to get to the outcome I want? Because this is all about surrendering to the divine, to what is, which is, again, this truest place of love, is acceptance, seeing what is and accepting it without the need to try to control it. And the only reason we would ever want to control is because we're attached to outcome, out of a place of fear, not getting what we want. And so we know if I'm feeling discomfort, if I'm feeling a need to control something, it's because I'm attached to attaining some form of outcome. If I get angry, if I get jealous, if I get dissatisfied, that means I had an attachment to an outcome. And nothing good comes from getting attached to outcome. Now, this doesn't mean we shouldn't have desires, okay, because we're obviously human here, and it's our birthright to be called to certain things and pulled to certain experiences. You're being pulled to certain experiences for a reason. Here, you might have been pulled to experience love, to experience relationship, to experience something. Okay, and so that's perfect. But when the attachment to the result of how it should unfold and what should happen, that's up to the divine. And so what's coming to an end here, I feel, is our egoic involvement in tying ourselves up in knots when it comes to relating to love and to opening our heart and accepting what is, not having to write the screenplay or control the outcome, or, have so much control over how we would be perceived and all of this stuff, because this isn't the authentic self. The authentic self comes online without hesitation. Okay, and so I feel like there's a hesitation, and this could mean, how do I put this into words? This is very difficult to explain, okay? Because there is a hesitation here. And we can say, no, I was going guns a-blazing, or balls to the wall, whatever you want to call it, But there was a hesitation here, because the energy that we were leaning into was actually false energy. And this could have been a sneaky sort of form of sabotage in a way, because if I wasn't leaning into that false self or that energy, that would mean I would be open, and that I would have to go after. Okay, when I say go after, it's like being open and being aligned with what actually is for me. And that is scary as hell, because now I'm exposed. Now I might be at risk of getting hurt. Now I might do the worst fear, being seen, being open, opening my heart, maybe for the very first time. Okay, I feel like there's something about being seen, being exposed, being open, and being vulnerable here that was very difficult for us to do, even if we were one that would talk about our feelings, or be, or think that we were showing our feelings. No, what we were actually showing was the ego self, the part of us that we wanted other people to see. This is how I am. This is what I say and do. And this is really because we identified as that, thinking this was us. Okay, but it was like bypassing, and it was like over top of what was true. And what was true is there's a deeper you, okay, a deeper version of you. And this version of you might have feared being seen and connected to, in case they weren't loved, in case, they weren't accepted, in case someone didn't, I don't know, would reject you or do something we didn't like, and we would lose control. And this only happens when we absolutely overcome this need to be approved and accepted by others, and when we feel like we're not enough. And so we connect to we are enough. We connect to I am whole. We connect to I cannot get rejected. Okay. And so even though there might be an appearance of being rejected, that is not the truth. That is just a perception that might be going on here. And so I feel like we're clearing out all these false beliefs about what it means to be approved, accepted, and loved. And why is because when we're in a false energy of ego and manipulation and putting on one face of how we want to be seen, and even if it is approved, it might feel like a superficial okayness because it's approved. It's like, okay, good. It might scratch the ego and feel okay, but it's like drinking from a well that never really fills the thirst because the true self is still not seen. That means the true self still doesn't feel truly loved. But when we're truly ourselves and exposed in a way here that's vulnerable and authentic, and we're loved for that, then it's like we're fully filled, we're fully seen and understood and accepted. And that feels fulfilling. And so I feel like we couldn't get fulfilled. We couldn't feel that love, externally, because externally we weren't putting ourselves out there in a way here that was being seen. Okay, regardless of, like I said, how you were putting yourself out there, because for some of us, yeah, I was out there, I was engaged, I was involved. It's like, yeah, but was it you or was it your ego self or this facade self? And so I feel like only through an experience of accepting who we truly are and understanding that we are worthy of being loved and accepted and appreciated, because we can love and appreciate and accept ourselves for all of who we are, faults and everything, and this understanding you're going to have is going to put an end to feeling tied up in knots or feeling like we must control or like things are misaligned or that I have to do anything at all to be seen or accepted. No, you don't. You don't have to do anything at all. So I feel like there is a balance here of masculine, feminine energy. So this could mean coming into the right relationship from a place of I'm finally seen, understood. I could finally open my heart up and not feel rejected. Okay, like this is a beautiful feeling because we feel welcomed, we feel seen, we feel we could be ourselves, we feel like we could leave the ego out the door. Okay, yeah, and I feel like there is something about, it's like, in order to feel love, we must give love. And in order for me to experience the deepest forms of pure love, I have to be willing to give the deepest, purest forms of deep love. I can't show up to the party and expect to take, because there's a taking and keeping, and withholding energy. I take and I keep. It's not like I'm coming to show up what I can give and invest and show completely from a place of wanting to give and be of service. Okay, there's this, being of service for the sake of being of service without any expectation. And so we have to be truly in the heart space, compassionate. Now, again, this doesn't mean martyring, because you go check out pile 1. If we think we got to martyr, it's like not about sabotaging or sacrificing. Okay, self martyring. This is truly about I show up and I'm of service, and it makes me feel good to give. It makes me feel good to be myself, because I feel there's an unease here. Whenever we have to be someone we're not, even if we're good at it, it's a heaviness we carry. It's a mask we carry. It's like a lot more easy to just be self. But there's a lot of fear initially, because it's like, what if I'm, judged, or what if I'm not approved or rejected? And the only reason we would carry this is because we're making judgment. We're making this heaviness. And so again, there's this energy of, if I don't want to be judged, then I don't judge. And this doesn't mean maybe you're judging the other person, which maybe you were, but I feel like it's a judgment of self. In order for me to be loved, I have to love self. In order for me to be accepted, I have to accept self. In order for me not to be judged, I have to not judge. I don't carry an energy of judgment here. Okay, so I feel like we've had many attempts and where we were tripping ourselves up, and maybe even feeling very bound by this, and it almost feels like I said, like in the mind to debunk the mind. So it's like always, it's like I'm seeing one of those like riddle things that you try to undo, and it's like one will just lead to the other again, and there's no way out. That's kind of what I'm feeling here, is like we couldn't get out, or we couldn't solve this conundrum. We couldn't solve the puzzle. There was no solving the puzzle from that regard or from that aspect. And it's like, okay, then I just need more power, to pull this puzzle apart, or I need more control to, no, because that was not the tool that was going to pull the puzzle apart. Because sometimes it's just like slipping it through a different way, or even releasing the tension, and then the puzzle kind of, the key is shown. You know which puzzles I'm talking about, right? Like the interlocking locks that you try to like take apart. I forget their names. Okay, but it's like every single puzzle has its own key or solution, and it's not always about force or about like undoing a whole bunch of intricacies. Sometimes it's just like one sort of thing, and then the whole puzzle is sort of shown. So here I feel like there's this hanging on to this version of the self that was created in relationship, that creates a version of me that I've been comfortable with. And I run with this assumed coat, and then I engage in the world, and then I see what I see out there, and I keep like seeing those people as disappointing, or not seeing me, or rejecting, or it not going smooth, or feeling like lack, and then I move on either from person to person, or keep experiencing the same disappointments with the same people. And we keep seeing with the eyes out there. Meanwhile, we were still running with the false self. We're still running with the ego. And it's like, no, this is what we mean about it going inwards. We must deconstruct the part of self that is assuming that it is its authentic self already, because it wasn't an authentic self. This self was a self that was, like I said, created to protect itself from getting hurt. And so why was this created? Either we were hurt in the past, or just over time, we created this understanding of this is what people do, to get into a relationship. But we all develop certain ways of coping. Okay. And they manifest in different ways, like through childhood. And so it works. This is why we do it. It works. Whatever you did worked for you. And now we're being shown it's not working for you, because the self that wants to be loved, the self that wants to be seen, the self that has been silenced, the self that is being cloaked by this thing, it was really reaching out here. Okay, and it's reaching out to be loved and approved and accepted as it is, without the guise of something else that it's not. It doesn't want this anymore. It can't breathe. This is what you're transitioning and releasing. Okay, and so it's very uncomfortable, because the ego will fight. It wants to survive. It wants to be still up in the mix. And so it feels like it's losing its footing. And so it still is going to make up reasons why it needs to be there. But, it's like, no, it just wants to be right. And that's the true meaning of like surrender, when we don't need to get the ego up in the mix, when we don't need to fall back on those coping protective mechanisms. It's like, it will be okay. Spirit will align me with the right people that accept me and see me. And I trust that this process will flow, that I don't need to manipulate love, or that I don't need to do anything other than just sort of show up and say, I want to be of service. I want to give today. I want to give love today. I want to give appreciation. I want to give of myself openly and honestly and truthfully. And as long as we come from this angle, then it's like we can receive it as well. But when I come to the table with some sort of misaligned expectation, then it's like we always fall short and disappointed, because people are going to be how they are. Majority of the people in the world here are still acting from 3D consciousness, from this ego-based thought structure. And so as long as we could see past it, it's like it still doesn't diminish any part of me. It can't hurt and reject me. Once I see past that, that's that person's projection. That's that person's coping mechanism. That's that person's way of engagement. This has nothing to do with a rejection of me and who I am, because we've connected to who you truly are. Okay. And when you connect to that, you attract abundance and no longer scarcity. And we're no longer having to like put up with things here, because I feel like there was, again, like tying up in knots, feeling up and down, feeling sort of, like highs and lows. It's like, I feel loved and appreciated and accepted, but it's like, is it you or is it the false self? And so the false self is getting all the kudos, And so the lows of the lows, I feel rejected. I feel not seen. I feel it's like, yeah, because we're not letting ourselves be seen. We're not putting ourselves out there. Okay, so pile number 2. Your reading is very clear. You're finding balance. You're finding true sense of self-worth, self-love, so you could attract abundance to you and acceptance, using the pure self, using the authentic self, not using the ego self, opening the heart space, being of service, okay, and coming from a place of true love, not from control, not from manipulation, not from ego, but how can I be of service here and let go of the need to manipulate energy or attachments to outcome. Okay, but this is plunging into the depths of how you truly feel and feeling comfortable in those feelings and letting those feelings flow, not trying to keep the reins on them, it's too much, or it's tell yourself all of this stuff. No, just let it flow with how you're feeling. That's the true indicator here. Now, flow with how you're feeling is not the good advice to give to someone who's in trauma, because they might be running with the ego thinking this is how I feel. Okay, so this is really about seeing through the ego identity and seeing the authentic self of how the feelings are. And how we'll know the difference is because the ego will come with the contracting feelings, feeling jealousy, disappointment, lack, or resentments when it doesn't get what it wants. Whereas the heart never carries any of that. The heart is expansive energy. It feels love. It wants to be of service. It wants to give. It feels good when it puts itself out there. Okay, and so we know when we're in heart or when we're in ego. So there is a difference here, okay? Beautiful angel, this is your reading. I hope this helped you, and I'll see you at the next one. All right, bye-bye. Hello, beautiful angel. Pile number 3, you guys picked the driftwood. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's take a look at your reading. I have pre-shuffled oracle cards. I've not looked at them. I asked Spirit for pile 3. What challenge, struggle is coming to an end? What's being released? Is it something internal, external, a person, place, thing? We'll see. Okay, what Spirit wants to communicate to you. So best way to see if this is your pile is to tap into your intuition, which you'll see, feel, or hear to determine whether this is for you. And that means sitting through the card layout. Okay. For those of you guys in tune with your intuition, you can go straight away to the channel message. Please keep in mind that these readings are general, collective, meaning a lot of people come through here. Okay. So sometimes we get very specific messages for certain individuals. Just leave those for those individuals. It should be the overall energy that's sitting with you. Okay, but don't force it to fit. It's not going to be everyone's message. Okay, if you don't find a reading here that resonates, then go check out my playlist for a different reading. Okay, so let's take a look. We have immutable with adaptability. All right, we have too many cats. No such thing. That's funny. Well, cats do represent independence. Sometimes they could be very finicky, okay, with their affection. But, yeah, are we maybe too independent here? Let's take a look. So we have the 8 clubs with I think this is clover. I'm going to read from the book. Okay, I read for all 3 piles this deck because I don't generally use it. And only because I do like what the author talks about here, aside from the intuition. But 8 clubs would be 8 wands. Okay, 8 wands is obviously about breakthrough, fast moving, communication, travel. But I don't know if this is lilies or... No, it looks like clover. Let's take a look at what this is and see what comes through here. 8 clubs. It says, Galax is a native... Oh, this is Galax. Okay, Galax. Galax is a native plant in the hills that is harvested a lot for its beautiful foliage. So much so that on the black market, folks are willing to pay up to $1.50 per leaf for this plant. The 8 of clubs foretells a good meeting or business transaction. In reverse, things will go wrong. Compare with other cards for further information. I've seen this card shown with the 4 of spades for someone a week before a street deal went south and someone got hurt. Business has many meanings in these hills. Okay, interesting description. but it's kind of like a fated meeting or event of sorts. Could be a transaction. Okay, let's keep going. So we have rotation with this spider, 69. Okay. Surrender frustration. So 69 is 15, by the way, which is devil. Okay, Capricorn energy. Surrender frustration. It says frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so you may approach the situation more calmly. We have all these poppies. Poppies do talk about past situation, past circumstances. Okay. We have digestive with processing. Trigger statement, I am so worried. The true statement, I have the solution. Slowing down and listening to your inner voice will provide you with direction and purpose. Okay. And then we have friendship, moon in Cancer with the number 4. 4 is all about structure, foundations, stability, planning. Okay, it's about material reality and problem solving. So we have some Emperor and some Scorpio energy with this number 4. All right. And then we have Old Woman. I'm getting some crone energy from this. Experience divine feminine energy. Old Woman. All right. And then we have, and feline is feminine energy with the cats here. We have this hand is giving me masculine energy, Emperor energy, but hands are all about accountability, doership. We have the intuitive eye here. Okay. So some Aries and some Pisces coming through with this one. And then we have these two people and someone's standing on top of another person. It looks like he's working out. Interesting. This seems like a transaction here. We have friendship. Then we have an old woman. Is there people involved here? I don't know. But okay, so red could be talking about root chakra, and then the white could be talking about purity or authentic self. Someone's helping someone here by doing something that could be dangerous here. Okay, and then we have these two people. It's cute. Looks like father and daughter. So warm embrace. I don't know. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's coming through. So I'm going to say, it honestly looks like he's sitting on the toilet. And this reminded me of a piece of poop. I'm just saying it. Okay. It looks like he's pooping. And we got poop here. So poop could be coming through. We'll see. Anger, frustration. 19 is sun energy. Okay. And 1. So we have some Leo and we have some Mercury energy. So Gemini and Virgo. Avoidance, ego level, anger, losing control, annoying, pleasure, mistaking, impulsiveness, personal desires. Type 1, the perfectionist, instinctive center between control and letting go. Interesting. Okay, and then we have failure, 21 and 3. So 3 is Venus energy, Taurus, Libra. Okay, it's about growth, relationships, which you're feeling here, initial success. So Empress, divine feminine, Hangman, which is Pisces energy, World, which is about closure. Okay, 3s are about creativity, joy, communication, self-expression. So it says failure, self-doubting people. Yeah, self-doubting people, deficiency, losing, defeat, bankruptcy, lagging people. Type 3, the achiever, emotional center between appearance and authenticity with the solar plexus. All right, and then we have deflection. Oh my goodness, 76. So this is 13, which is Scorpio energy, transformation, change, death energy, which we were feeling from the red here, or this hand here. No, from this 4, I'm sorry. And then we have this oracle card. It looks like an orca whale, someone standing by a totem pole. Okay, interesting. I'm not sure what I'm getting from this energy so much just yet, but let's take a look. Okay, so water's emotions. Whale could be deep emotions navigating. Okay, dead totem pole could be talking about culture, tradition. Someone seems wrapped here in a blanket. So there seems to be something about generational. I'm feeling like generational, I don't know, experience or ancestral tradition or healing or something like this. Okay, so Spirit, clear and concise message for pile number 3 regarding what struggle, challenge is coming to an end. What next major challenge, struggle is coming to an end for pile number 3? Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. Thank you so much, pile 3, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here doing your reading. All right. For pile number 3, 7 of hearts and the reverse, 7 cups. And we got a pair of shoes. I believe shoes came out for pile number 1. If you are called to 1, there might be a message there for you. Clear and concise message for pile number 3 regarding what struggle, challenge is coming to an end for pile 1. Thank you so much, Spirit, for this message. Thank you so much, pile 1, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here doing your reading. We have 6 of Pentacles, and under the 6 Pentacles, we have the 6 of Wands in reverse. I don't read bottom of the deck reverse, so I flip this one over. So 6 Pentacles, 6 Wands. 6s are about problem solving, compassion, harmony. 6s lovers, devil. Okay, so Gemini and Capricorn energy that pulls through. But 66 is a master number. Service is a source of joy, in which one pours from an overflowing cup, not martyrdom. That was all for pile 1, if you were called to 1. Okay, so let's take a look. What we have here for tarot. We have the Hangman, Pisces energy, which is coming strong with the 3. Okay. And we have, so Pisces, we have the 5 of Wands in reverse. We have the Page of Hearts, which is the Page of Cups in reverse. And we have the Wisdom King. This is the Hierophant. Wow. Okay. So remember, talk about tradition here with this totem pole. Okay, this could be, we were talking about independence here. Independence sometimes might need to conform to something, or it doesn't conform to something, because this would be conformity. Okay, committing, establishing something here. This would be sort of the opposite of that, to the extreme. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. Both these cards came out, I do believe, for pile number 2, if you recall. Okay, and then the King of Pentacles, and he is in reverse. Okay, and what is under, so King of Pentacles is Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, Taurus, and Pisces coming through. What is under this 6 of Wands in reverse is Death, Scorpio energy. That also came through for pile number 2. Okay, let me channel it like this. You guys can skip ahead to the channeled message, okay? Let's see, can you see? Yeah, you can see. Okie dokie. I'm being called to read this. Okay. 69. It says the wheel, monotony and cycles. Rotatio is the great alchemical operation of the wheel. Through its circularity, it indicates that work performed again and again and again produces results. It reminds us our efforts are cumulative, not singular, nor is the work ever fixed or finished. Rather, the alchemist rises each day to tend to the laboratory to weave their work into the world. It is the epitome of the alchemical axiom. Adem mutata resurgio. Although changed, I arise the same. This operation is expressed through images of the circle, the spiral, the Ouroboros, and the wheel. By its non-hierarchical shape, we are tossed back into the spin, just when we thought we had figured it out, when we thought we had figured it all out. Though the stage can be frustrating and cause a fair amount of restlessness, it is at the heart of all spiritual practices. Go deeper, listen to the George Harrison, all things must pass. To ponder, is there anything that it does not repeat? Okay. Alrighty. Let me keep tapping in here. Okay. Pile number 3. I'm laughing because life is funny. Spirit is funny. It really is, And sometimes we just want to choke life because it's annoying as fuck. Okay? I feel like something's really annoying as F here, but it's also making me laugh, Because I feel like you are going to get somewhere, okay? And I feel like at times we might get so frustrated, we just kind of want to give up, and just be like, fuck it. Like, it's not working. It's not getting anywhere. It's so annoying and frustrating. It's like, no matter how much I invest or do, it's like sometimes the opposite happens here. And then it's like, wow, I'm like one step forward and 10 steps back, or like I've already experienced this thing again. Why is it coming back? Why has this not gone away? Why has there not been a solution? I must be doing something wrong, or I must not be understanding something, or I must be, okay? So when we do this thing, when we do this thing as an I must be, or it's not working because some sort of thing is going wrong, we are carrying a burden we don't need to carry, okay? And yes, it's human to feel this way, of course, to want to know, what can I do different? What is it that I've been doing, But this is a coping way that we use that might have worked for us in the past in order to get different results. And so we sort of carry that as a way to cope and as a way to figure out and do. This is all about whatever's unfolding is going to unfold. There is no doership here, okay? It's very difficult for people to grasp from going from this energy of thinking we're a separate self, doing things, getting outcome, and we could control energy and manipulate energy, to complete surrender and allowing the universe to unfold. This is a change of how we see things, okay? And so I feel like there's something here that's not working out. It's not working out, and it feels almost like we're trying to put the puzzle pieces together and we keep getting it like barfed back out. And this is why I kept like talking about the piece of poop. Even this guy, like I said, looked like he was taking a poop, because I feel like there's it's like the only thing we're sort of left with is the disappointing stuff that we can't really do much with here, and it's like, when am I going to get the reward, or like the actual fruits of my labor here? Okay, and so we could be beating our heads up against the wall over and over and over and over again, experiencing the same sort of thing, and then thinking like, clearly I'm not doing something right, or I got to do this, or maybe it's this or that. And we could drive ourselves absolutely nuts, carrying the burden that we failed because of something we're doing, and then carrying that energy, that vibration, that lower vibration of failing or disappointment or upsetness or contracting energy, whatever you want to call it. Anger, it says here, but everyone always leaves comments, I'm not angry. Okay, whatever. Resentment, lower vibration. negative energy when it comes to allowing things to unfold as they do, even if they feel like they're disappointing and misaligned at the time. It's like spirit knows what it's doing here. And so I feel like there's a heavy frustration in yourself, and I feel like what spirit's really talking about is you coming to the understanding here to release the burden, the unnecessary burden that you're carrying here. Because I do feel like there is things that are unfolding that are completely out of your control. And the ego doesn't like to think that anything is out of its control. If it can do something, if it could do something, it's going to do something here. Okay. And so I feel like we're learning a balance between what we can't really control, what is understood and felt, like intuitive things where we're being guided in order to allow and release and relinquish, and a balance between that and then what we can sort of do. Okay, because I always talk about here not being a doer, but this doesn't mean you just sit on your couch and eat potato chips, because spirit will put in front of you time to act, time to take responsibility, accountability, do things. Okay, like do things. Obviously, spirit's working through you, but a time to take action. And so I feel like there's a discomfort when we have to sort of let go and let God and let things unfold, and then knowing when we're supposed to take action and what we're supposed to do. And when we do something, if the result isn't good, it's like, well, it must have been me, or it must have been this or that. And then we could run with a whole narrative. No. Okay, so right now, I think what we're learning is the balance between intuition and taking action with that, and knowing when to sort of not take action, and then when to take action, transaction, and not take sort of the results here as something personal, and feel comfortable in this energy that's very discombobulating. If we're always used to sort of taking action, having results, and winning, this is our norm, this is what we're used to, and we try to cookie cutter this on top of every other situation. This situation is not like this at all, whatever you're experiencing here. It's a challenging situation. Okay, it hasn't given to you yet, and it's not giving to you yet so that you could learn this sort of understanding. Okay, and when you learn this understanding, it's going to free you of a mindset that we use to cope here, because this mindset doesn't help you. This mindset is actually self-defeating. It's like, I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough, or I did this, or I did that, and now I feel like a failure, or not good, or like I can't stack up, or I can't measure up, or I need to give more, be more, do more. No. This isn't about doership. This is about really, really seeing from the intuitive space what aligns is for me and what doesn't is not for me. I don't need to force and coerce. So there's a certain point of which I should do within my what's reasonable, what I can do, take action on. And then there is overextending self to force things to fit, and knowing the difference. Because I do feel like there was a time here where we're trying to force things in order to have an outcome. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with wanting what we want. We want an outcome because we want to be happy. We want to have success. We want to achieve. We want the fruit. Okay, but Spirit is saying the fruit will come, but let Spirit develop and unfold the fruit how it's supposed to come. There is no little separate I that's going to manipulate energy to get the fruit. And so when we're attached to the outcome and how it's going to be, and that I'm the one that's going to create this, we create massive disappointment when we realize that we have no control, that the universe is putting in front of us something that is completely out of our control. And if we're in those situations and we still apply that same mindset, we get angry, we get frustrated, we get disappointed at self, and then we start to beat ourselves up. I'm not good enough. I need to learn something else, or I'm not knowing of something that I need to know. It's like, no, there is nothing you need to know. There is just allowing yourself to see through the illusion here. And the illusion is the self understanding that you have, because there's an understanding that you have of how you are, and that you carry an understanding of what that if I could do something or be something or do something, that it's going to equal X. And Spirit saying, no, that is, in theory, it sounds good. Logically, socially, maybe this is something that you've seen and that's worked for you, or that's been, indoctrinated upon us as society. It's like, you do these things and then these things sort of come back to you. And it's like, yeah, in theory, it sounds good, but there are a lot of circumstances and situations in life where it doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter, like all of our energy here, when we remove all of our experiences and things that we've done, it's like we are a divine essence of the creator. We're all deserving of love. We're all deserving of good things. We're all deserving of abundance. Okay, but are we all experiencing abundance and good things? No, we're not all experiencing this. Okay, and so our perception is that, and this is the major illusion here, is that only certain people are blessed and that we can control these blessings. Okay, and it's like, no, blessings and abundance are always there. We can be an illusion that it's limited and reserved for certain people that do certain things. And only if we could do this or do that, then it will come to me. That's a falsity. Okay, that's a falsity. Spirit is saying there's abundance and there's a lot that's coming forward to you. Okay, but in order to align with this thing, okay, we have to see through the illusion of the self-speak that we're not enough or that we have to do or be something that we're not. This is going to come to an end. Okay, you're balancing out these energies. You're getting comfortable with the energy of allowing, letting things unfold, letting things happen, and knowing when to sort of take action and your own sort of impacts. Okay, because we do have an impact when we energetically do and say certain things. Okay, but when we start to really force certain things and outcomes and, and then carry the burden when it doesn't work out, that's like undue burdens that we don't need to carry. Okay, and so there's an energy here of like, if we're going to surrender to the divine, which I feel we're in the process of doing, it's like, I'm not responsible for the blessings because blessings are going to come and the abundance is there. This means I'm also not responsible for the disappointments and the stuff that is out of my control. I'm surrendering it all to God. I'm not only going to surrender the little parts, and when it doesn't go right, I beat myself up. I'm horrible, or I don't know this, or I don't know that. No, all of this is surrender to the divine. Divine, you have me. You're going to unfold what you need to unfold here. However, it is going to unfold without any sort of control on my end, because I have trust and I have a deep devotion and a belief that the divine is set up with the ultimate sort of abundance. Okay, now if we don't believe that the universe is all abundant and that there's scarcity and that there is lack, then this is what we will keep experiencing. And so both could be true here. Both could be true here. There is no limitation. There is no lack. There is no scarcity. But if we believe it, then of course it becomes a truth. Okay. And so this is really working through the nuances of seeing that there is all abundance to be had and experienced once I undo my belief that there is a lack and that I have an inability to align with it, or that I'm doing something that needs to be changed, or no, there isn't here. Okay. And so I feel like there's an energy here of disappointment. That's what's coming to an end. The disappointment, and it's really carried double time here, because it's like, I did something to add to this disappointment, or I'm lacking something, or I'm the one, like, no, there is no separate you. There is just whatever's unfolding, and there's no need to carry the burden of disappointments or the burden that it didn't work. And so therefore I'll carry the fault. Okay. And so you're repeating the same disappointing results. I feel here, it's like, it could be different situations, but it's always sort of falling short. It's like, man, it never sort of feels like victory. It never feels like it's, over, like that I've attained something or that I can celebrate something. It keeps falling short. This could be disappointing jobs. It's like I keep going to different jobs and it keeps like not being the right one, or I keep going into all these relationships and they're not understanding me. It's never the right person, or I feel like no matter what I do, I can't get out of this bubble that I'm in, that no one will understand me, or that I'm always treated in the same way or seen in the same way or keep getting the same results. It's like you're sort of in that energy And we're carrying this energy unbeknownst to us, willingly, even though I know you're not wanting to have this energy, you're willingly carrying this energy. And so Spirit's really talking about there being, with this deflection, I'm getting a lot of not carrying any of these disappointments, just as we won't carry any of the celebratory things that come to us. Because when we start to think that I'm the one that achieved this victory, I'm the one, it's like, no, the ego thinks this, because the ego, of course, would think this, that it's a separate I and that it's the one that's having the success. It's the one, that's the ego's game. It's like it wants to be the hero. And if it's not the hero, then it plays the victim. It's like I'm the hero or the victim. Ego, ego, ego. Okay? And it's like, no, the universe is unfolding. Things are happening. I'm able to take action when I can. Intuitively, I'll know when there's time for me just to allow things to be without resistance or force. Okay? But the more I try to resist, fight, change, coerce, and manipulate energy, I'm carrying this energy that I'm the one responsible here. And so when things fall apart or they don't work, then it's like, that must have been me, or now I carry the burden of it not working. Okay. So this is why we surrender. It's like we surrender because I have no control here. We surrender because obviously the situation that I'm in, I'm being shown that through this process of what I've been doing is not working. I keep getting the same results. Let me surrender into it and know what will come as it's supposed to come. And then miraculously, guess what happens? It opens up. We're no longer trapped by our own sort of energy. I feel like this keeps repeating, kind of like Groundhog's Day, until we see this about ourselves. It's like we got to start seeing differently, ourselves differently, our situation differently, our energy differently. It's not just going to change overnight because something happened. And now I believe, now I see the light. It's like, no, cultivate from within an undoing of a belief. We're undoing the belief that I am the doer, that I have any control in regards to outcome when I don't. The only control or illusion of control that I do have is to make decisions that aren't forced at the time when they're put in front of me, thank you, Lord, that are aligned with the greatest and highest good of love, of service to others, and feeling right. And not misaligned, not forced, not too heavy to carry. Okay, no aversions, no resistance. This is true alignment with what's for me is for me. I feel like we're trying to do things on our own. I feel like we're hyper independent. I feel like we're taking on too much of the disappointments when it doesn't work, and then too much of the accountability, putting it on us, like we're in it alone, like there is no divine, like there is no spirit, like there is no help. It's like, no, spirit is here to help you. The universe will keep on ticking in reality, and either you're aligned with reality, which will alleviate a lot of your suffering, or you're misaligned with reality in your own illusion, creating all sorts of suffering. Okay, this is suffering, is sort of like insanity I'm seeing here. A suffering feeling, a disappointing feeling. It's like there's no escape of this disappointing feeling. It's too difficult for me to digest this disappointment or this lack. Okay, this is heavy sort of lack mindset. And so Spirit is saying things are actually aligned. We're the ones hanging on to the misalignment. If we knew that everything was already out there for us, matching our vibration, all we had to do is just tweak our own vibration, and then we would align with it. We would tweak our vibration. But right now our vibration is tweaked to that in which we do not want. It's tweaked to disappointment. It's tweaked to, like I said, resentment, anger, disappointment, failure. It's like I didn't succeed or I didn't get, and now I'm disappointed. It's like, yeah, that's the energy we're going to keep sort of experiencing. But it wasn't you. It wasn't you at all. Do not carry the illusion and the belief that you have this doership that's going to control any of this stuff. You do not. Okay, so you're absolutely here supported by the universe. You're absolutely releasing this belief, okay, this lack belief, this energy that you carry that you don't need to carry anymore. You can release it. It's no good. Discard of it. Okay, and the only thing Spirit wants you to hang on to is trust that you're fully supported, and that's what's for you will come to you. There's no need to manipulate, chase, and force it at all. Okay, but when we still do that, it's because we still don't believe in that. And that's okay. We just got to undo that belief. Okay, so there is this greater level of trust here that's coming through that I don't think we're at just yet. And this is why we're experiencing disappointment. This is why we're experiencing difficulty. It's like we keep experiencing the same difficulty until we see it, until we see this illusion. And so we're here in the school of life to show us life lessons until we learn it and understand it fully, completely. Your lesson here is seeing through this illusion. You're not a doer. You are at the mercy, just like everyone else, of reality and what is happening. And so the only thing we can do is accept it with a full heart. Okay, even if we don't like what we're experiencing, it's like, how can I carry this emotion? Because now I'm in line with truth. You can connect to that emotion, feel that emotion. Do not suppress the emotion. It's living in reality for what is, without resisting, without fighting. Can I be in a body that's not feeling very good about what's happening? How do I feel? Okay. And we might be trying to avoid those feelings of disappointment, those feelings of uneasiness. And it's like circumventing. It's like, no, we'll keep running away. We'll keep manipulating energy. Allow yourself to feel, even if it's uncomfortable, because what will happen is you'll eventually learn that you can handle uncomfortable feelings, that you can accept what is real and true. And when you do this, you then align to a higher positive energy because you're no longer fighting and resisting. You're pulling and magnetizing to you what's for you, what is agreeable, mutable. Okay. And so there is flowing with the universe rather than resisting and trying to cut corners and circumvent and jump over. And there's a tiring energy here. Okay. This leads to frustration, disappointments, carrying of burdens, transactional thing. What's in it for me? Tit for tat. Okay, there's always like a win-lose sort of energy. It's like, no, it's win-win. And the universe knows when it's win-win. Why? Because winning for all is the divine's plan. Okay, we're all God's children. We're all here to win. And so if someone's losing, that's not in the high truth. Okay, so it has to be a win-win for all. And the win-win for all is always aligned with the great truth. The great truth isn't anything we have to manipulate. The great truth comes through very clear. We just have to see it and accept it as it is, even if it's uncomfortable. Okay, but we could get fooled and by the illusion of the ego and think that's the truth. It's like, no, we have to see through that illusion. That's not the truth. So you're building something, I feel, okay, like long-term here, something that's going to be stable, secure, that's going to be something you can hang your hat on here. Okay, that I think you are being called to give to. And I feel like maybe you feel like it just isn't getting there or it can't quite build to that thing yet. Spirit's saying, because you got to learn this, you got to change how you're seeing things. You're able to build this thing. You're able to be successful at this thing. You're not going to have failure. And the only reason we're experiencing failure is because we're going against the grain. We're actually not in line with the universe. We're still trying to do something here. Okay. And it could definitely be because we're trying to do how we were taught or what we were shown or what we understood. And it's like, that's fine. But as long as we can see through this illusion that just doing it isn't going to equate to a certain result, there's a need to fully just allow ourselves to open our heart, trust ourselves to be in the present moment innocently with what we feel and accept it without resistance, without trying to change what it is, without carrying any, again, burden, like burden, heaviness of judgment or any of this stuff. Okay, beautiful angel. And I feel like you're going to turn this thing around. You're really going to turn this thing around. And where you were feeling stuck, where you were feeling like you weren't getting success, this is going to change just from this mindset, this understanding that you're having here. You're finally going to start to see solutions come to you, flow come to you. It's not going to be heavy. It's not going to be forced. It's like, wow, things are actually aligned now. They're not all going sideways. It's like when we finally release and accept, things starts to align. Things start to be absolutely beautifully made for us because the universe knows what's for you. Okay, no need to cling to what's not for you. Okay, because that also feels very empty here. It feels very much like not supported, or like we're not supported by the universe or the people around us. And so we might feel like we struggle for true support, true friendship, true relationship, true connection. Okay, and so this is all about us experiencing, something here to show us the truth of something else. Even if it's been too heavy to carry, even if it's been difficult, it's like for our own good. So now we see, Okay, we're strengthening this sort of a lesson. Okay, just like this guy's strengthening his stomach muscles by this person standing on him. It's like through this trials and tribulations, through a lot of this disappointment, I now see a greater truth. And the great truth is that I am successful, that I am abundant, but I haven't been seeing this because I've been too focused on what wasn't working and what seemed to be a disappointment, that it was my lack or my error or my, that's all judgment. No, nothing to do with any of that stuff. Okay, beautiful angel. And I feel like you might have carried this because you are independent. It's like if I take the victory as me being the doer, I win. I'm also going to take the me losing as I lost. It's like, no, you're not the winner, nor are you the loser. You're just living in the universe like everyone else. Either you're fighting reality, resisting reality, or in line with accepting what is true. Okay, true with a capital T. And not what you're perceived, not what you're trying to manipulate or coerce or trying to see as something here with a heavy judgment, because that is going through the suffering. Okay, and so this is all about transformation. This is all about finding balance. This is all about you contributing to something that's actually going to pay back to you, not going in circles, not feeling trapped, not feeling like it's not getting anywhere or amounting to anything. Okay, only reason it wouldn't amount to something is if we're invested in an area that's not for us. If it's not for us, it's not going to manifest. What's for you is still out here. Okay, and it's beautiful and it's aligned, and you'll feel it and you'll know it once you trust the universe to let go of this. Okay, and it doesn't mean that this thing is a failure and misaligned. This means how you're going about it. How you're going about it needs to be looked at. Okay, the frustration doesn't have to be there. We got to let go of that energy. Beautiful angel. So this is your reading. I hope this helped you. I'll see you at the next one. All right, bye-bye.